guys, it's so good to have you on this session of our government tutorials, and we shall be considering the public commissions which were established by the 1979 Constitution, as well as other commissions which were set up by the subsequent constitutions rather. And at the end of this lesson, you should be able to evaluate the operations of the public commissioners. Again, you should be able to assess the problems of these public commissions as well as the constraints on the public commission. And in order to help us understand this lesson well, we have brought out 3 commissions to talk about, and these include the Civil Service Commission, the Public Complaints Commission, which is also known as the Ombudsman, and the Electoral Commission. And coincidentally, in our previous video, we talked extensively about the Electoral Commission. Remember the time when we did elections and political parties? We dealt with the Electoral Commission. So you look out for the video and listen to it again or watch it again. And so particularly, we shall concentrate on the Civil Service Commission and the Public Complaints Commission. So we would start with the Civil Service Commission. And we had talked about civil service before. In our previous video, we talked extensively about the civil service, and I remember we said it is an arm or a department of the executive arm of government. They also assist the executive arm in policy making, in policy implementation, and so it's an independent body. But in this lesson, we are looking at the commission, the Civil Service Commission, not the body civil service, but we are looking at the commission. And so this is just an independent body that has the job of recruiting people into the civil service. You know, the civil service has different departments and compartments, and we have the professional bodies, we have the executive arm. A lot of those departments, we listed them out before, and so the Civil Service Commission recruits people into the various arms of the civil service. And so the people who hold offices as members of the commission are people of good behavior who in turn bring other people or employ other people into the civil service. And they could do that by way of interview or by way of setting up competitions or other measures for recruitment. Now let's look at the functions in full, like detailed functioning of the Civil Service Commission. One, which is the basic and the most important, is recruitment. And so the only way to get into the civil service is through recruitment. If you have not been recruited into the service, you cannot be a part of the service. And so that is what the Civil Service Commission does. They recruit people into the civil service. They also transfer persons. And so if there is need to move you from one department to somewhere else, this is the commission that handles that. Again, they deal with the promotion of persons who are eligible and who are qualified to be promoted. And so they also engage in disciplinary actions. And so where we have erring members or people who have begun to do things which are not constitutional or things which are not warranted for in the civil service, this is the body, this is the commission that would show you the way out. Again, they also retire persons, and so they stipulate the number of years you will commit to service before you are due to be retired. So they take care of retirement issues and the monetary allowances. They also stipulate the dismissal conditions of service. They also give advice to the executive arm, because the civil service as a body is the supportive arm of the executive. So it is their due, it is their duty to also give pieces of advice to the government, the executive arm especially. And of course, you would know very interestingly that efficiency and integrity is the motto of the Civil Service Commission. And so everything they're going to be doing in the commission is to project efficiency and integrity. Now let's look at the Public Complaints Commission, popularly known as the Ombudsman. you want to say it with me, ombudsman. So it is a government institution that simply examines complaints of inefficient administration, corruption, and unjustified treatment by overzealous public authorities or officials against citizens. And so we have public corporations, we have the civil services everywhere, and we have people who work in them. There is every chance and likelihood that they would err, that they would do things which are not in compliance with their stipulations. Of course, they could become overzealous. They are humans. They could become everything that we do not want them to be. And so we've set up an organization, an institution to check their activities, and that is the Public Complaints Commission. And so if you have any worries, any complaints about any administrative act against any public official, then you have the ombudsman at your service. And I want you to know that the ombudsman was established in Nigeria in October 1975. So you don't need to shut up. You don't need to be scared. If there is something, a mismanagement, an administrative act that you are not comfortable with, or bureaucratic measures that you do not like, just write to them and it will be sorted out for you. So let's look critically at the functions of the Public Complaints Commission. One is problems and complaints. So if you have any complaint, any problem against any public official, you report to them. And of course, they also investigate cases of bad administration. And so when you write, they would do well to investigate to find out really if it is true or not. And of course, the rights and liberties of citizens must be upheld. So because we are the members of this commission are working as members or as servants, does not warrant them to turn down or trample on the rights and liberties of citizens. And so the commission is there to ensure that your rights are not trampled upon. Again, prosecution. So instances where we have erring members, they have the right to prosecute those people. Again, they also ensure that corrupt practices are not incorporated in the functioning of the commission. They also have restraining factors. They investigate allegations. They also ensure that infringement on rights and the constitutional rights and provisions of citizens are not disrupted and trampled upon. They also monitor the activities of the civil servants and ensure that there is an efficient discharge of duties. But then there are limitations to the exercise of this commission. There are things that do not allow for efficient functioning of the commission. And the first is they do not have the power to enforce issues. And so they could only investigate. They don't have that executive power to enforce an issue. Again, they cannot investigate the activities of top government officials. And so they cannot investigate the activities of the ministers, the governors, not even the president. And that's a big, huge limitation. They do not also have the power to question some authorities, because that is what their constitution provides for. That is how far they can go with investigatory powers. And of course, secrecy. And I remember when we talked about the civil service, we mentioned that the civil servants are not allowed to speak to the press or to the media or to the public about certain matters. It is only the minister in charge of the department, in charge of the ministry, or the commissioner in charge of that ministry who is allowed to speak about a matter. And so they have sworn to secrecy, and that is a big limitation to the effective administration or working of the commission. And we were supposed to talk about the electoral commission. I know I have referred you to a previous video to listen and to watch to that video again. And so this is where we bring a close to our lesson today. I'm sure you enjoyed it. Do look out for all of our videos and educate yourself. Thank you.